Can you go crazy from loneliness? Or maybe going crazy pushes everyone else away and causes loneliness. Sorry, I was just thinking that you and everyone else who sees this would think I'm crazy. Maybe that's actually the best case scenario. Well, believe me or not, I've been stuck in a Groundhog's Day-like loop for years now. I already know what most of you are thinking, but no, it's not secretly awesome. Mainly because each loop ends with my death. I didn't realize it for a long time, but I suspect I had just been peacefully dying in my sleep. Ironically, now that I know the truth, it's not easy for me to get to sleep before I start to die. Instead, the more that I try to confront the fact that I'm in a loop, the more brutal the death. This is one of the many reasons that I've come to the conclusion the universe simply hates me. I knew I was in a loop long before trying to escape, but just hadn't been able to think of a way out. Definitely not before the loop starts again. One problem is that my bank account is always the same. I can't hop on a plane or make it very far in just a day. I've had plenty of vacations, but that's just me not going to work and staying in my crappy apartment. I've tried turning to religion and other mystics, but didn't see a change from one loop to the next, so I quickly stopped trying there. But I experienced my first violent death when I finally took escaping the loop seriously. I guess I thought it was awesome enough in the beginning too. I realized though that I'd never get around to writing that book I've always had in my mind. I'd never get back in shape, and I'd never get married. Either way, I was finally ready to start living. But even as I figured out what I wanted to do, the loop kept happening over and over again. Then I went to bed but didn't sleep. I laid awake dreading the next loop and regretting yet another day that didn't result in change. And then I got the change in the worst way possible. I was just laying there, unable to move out of apathy or sleep paralysis. I'm still not sure which, but my stomach started to hurt. The first time I ever felt it that bad. The pain grew and it traveled upwards until I found myself spewing an acidic black sludge all over the bed. Then I could move, just enough to get up on one arm and lean over to throw up on the floor. It just kept pouring out of my mouth with each heave. It wasn't long before blood accompanied the sludge. I felt like my guts were being ripped out. With the painful final heave, I collapsed back to the bed and felt my body sag inward. I could also feel my consciousness fade away. And then it was morning again. My alarm told me it was time to go to work because of course the loop had restored me. However, I was actually disappointed to find myself alive again. To be honest, that first time I quickly dismissed the death as a bad dream. Understandable, given that the loop cleaned up that bloody mess for me. But then it happened again, and again, not always the same way. Sometimes I felt a heartache that grew and got so bad that I'd feel the bad kind of pop in my chest before blacking out and waking up to another loop, or my head would hurt, like 1,000 migraines, and I'd feel my brain cooking inside of my own skull before its juices would run out of my ears. Then the loop would save me. I've died 100 deaths since the first violent one, but absolutely nothing has changed. My bank account stays the same, and my stories are unwritten. But at least I'd live forever inside a time loop, right? That might be what you're thinking, that I just have to stay optimistic and eventually I'll find a way out. Yeah, well, there are some key differences that I'm going through. The biggest being that the date changes and I've been aging normally as far as I can tell. It's just that the same events are repeating. I see the same people who say and do the exact same things day after day. The story I read in the newspapers are the same, just with a different date. But the most gut-wrenching and heartbreaking thing to suffer through is how many times I keep making the same mistakes, day after day, week after week. What's crazier, doing the same thing and expecting a different result, or continuing to do the same thing even when you know exactly what the result will be. I don't know why I even bother trying to think up new stories when I know exactly what will happen. I'll never get them written down. I'll die some more tonight, only to wake up and start all over again. My only solace is that every night, my death feels a little worse. Maybe one of these loops, it'll actually stick. I think I'd have to be crazy to hope otherwise.